Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be forgotten.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Hello, occultists. This is Ood Gallifrey. Thank you for being so patient and waiting for this episode. Our lives are complicated. Again, we're all people with full-time jobs, families, responsibilities, and various mental health disorders. And sometimes an influence of those things makes it hard to keep up with the podcast schedule. So, there's new content on the way. Some of it, in fact, will be arriving just this weekend. But for now, here's a little filler episode. Ood covers Mysterious Recordings Part 2. I think I'm going to keep this series up whenever we need a filler or gap episode. If you would like to submit a sound that I should cover next time, send an email with the clip preferably attached to feedback@ovpod.ca. Until then, let's jump into the Mysterious Recordings.
You should talk often with the old ones of your tribe. That is the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink, miss.
Oh, I need some dry clothes.
Because he's a freaking nerd. I think I'm better than Chuck Swirsky. Working the fool. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. That's the way. Your love is fading. I still see the X. Oh, my files. Oh, I just laid a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. Oh, my brother is wearing the other one. But it's dirty. What's gonna put my time? Oh, they're coming to get me.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly.
The generator. Were you always so careful?
What you just heard in that little intro clip was what is widely known as the Max Headroom Incident. An incident in 1980 Chicago, where the WGN news station, rebroadcasting an episode of Doctor Who, was interrupted shortly after 11 p.m. by that mysterious recording, which depicted a British commercial TV personality, best known for being the spokesman of New Coke, Max Headroom. If the sound of that piqued your interest, you'll be happy to know that our patrons have voted that episode in to be made into a future episode. So, people that pay at least $1 a month get to vote on future episodes, and they voted in Max Headroom as something to cover. And we have recorded it, so it will be arriving in your feeds very soon. If you would like to be a background producer and vote in that poll as well, just go to patreon.com/ovpod. Next up, let's listen to a few of the ocean sounds and ocean recordings that I didn't go over last time. In fact, I barely was scratching the surface. The last time I went over the upsweep, the bloop, a recording known as Julia, and a recording known as the slowdown. But what I'm about to play for you is known widely as the train. It was captured by a microphone operated by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in 1997. I'm going to play the sound at 16 times speed first, so 16 times faster than regular, and then at regular speed. This sound is known simply as the train. Now, the recording you just heard has many hoo train sounds in it, like a train horn. And that is why it's called the train. Now again, these are mysterious sounds. There is no official explanation for them, no 100% guaranteed story that explains them. But they are theorized to be caused by the bottoms of giant icebergs, scraping the bottom of some shallow bay or sea that they're in. And that constant sound of ice scraping against sea bottom and rock makes these high-pitched train noise sounds when picked up by underwater microphones. Last time I included the sounds of the bioduck minke whale and the loneliest whale in the world. I just think that there's some animal out there that's big enough to make their call resonate throughout hundreds of miles of ocean water. So let us listen to some sounds of whales doing their calls. This is a recording of a humpback whale recorded off the coast of Alaska in 1999. This is the call of a blue whale, recorded in the northeastern Pacific in 1996. Here is a recording of a fin whale, recorded in 1998 in the Atlantic Ocean. This is a recording of a sperm whale. Nice. Recorded from the microphone of a 1964 submarine owned by America. Here's the sound of an orca, also known as a killer whale, doing their song in a small bay in 1970s Alaska. This point in the ocean is known as Challenger Deep, named after the place where the Challenger submarine got to. It is 36,070 feet deep. That's how much water there is to traverse through before you get to the Challenger Deep point. If you were to turn Mount Everest upside down and dip it into the ocean, Challenger Deep would extend another 6,000 feet beyond the tip of Mount Everest. And here are some of the sounds that have been recorded on microphones in the deepest part of the ocean. One sound that was recorded when a microphone was lowered 36,000 feet down was the sound of a 2016 magnitude 5 earthquake near Guam. The second recording I'll play you is from the propeller of some massive shipping container ship, passing within about 100 kilometers of where the Challenger Deep microphone was set down to the bottom of the trench. So it's still quite a ways away from this ship's propeller, but even at the deepest point of the ocean, the sound still reverberates. And remember, there's hundreds of these ships passing over the top of the ocean every day. Now, the sound is very slight, but if you listen carefully during the middle of this audio clip, you'll be able to hear the distinctive sound of those ships' giant propellers taking strokes through the ocean and moving tons of water. Moving above the ocean blue, let's next listen to a series of warning sirens. I think it's important to remember just how much weight these sounds carry. All of these alarms were some of the last things that people heard before disaster struck. Hell, for some of these, like the nuclear air raid sirens, they at least drove thousands of people into abject terror, thinking that the fires of nuclear explosions are headed their way. But let's take a little survey of some warning sirens around the world. On the first Wednesday of noon every month, air sirens around Denmark go off. Most of them are affixed to the roofs of buildings, put in places with populations over 1,000, designed in a way that 80% of the population will hear them go off. The remaining 20% of the sirens are affixed to the top of emergency vehicles, so that sound can be driven around to warn people that the initial sirens may not reach. Here's what they sound like. The city of Chicago in the United States of America has 112 warning sirens, strategically placed on very tall poles 1 to 2 miles apart throughout the city, being sure that 95% of the city's residents would be able to hear the sirens when they go off. Not only can they be activated as a group in times of great emergency, but emergency services can turn these on individually at the location of the tower themselves. Here is a recording of these Chicago emergency sirens going off in August 2008. This next alarm is the tsunami siren in Maui, Hawaii. As the name suggests, it is a siren that is due to warn people about incoming tsunamis, giant waves of water that can damage property and drown people by the thousands. They're loud, they're jarring, and they're meant to be. When you hear one, follow proper emergency procedures and get to higher ground. Imagine sunning yourself on a beach when you hear this. This is a World War II German air raid siren. When the Germans caught word that there was possibly an incoming bombing raid from enemy fighter planes or something of the like, they would sound off this air raid siren to tell their citizens to find cover, find safety, prepare for the raid. The Iron Dome is a missile defense system used by Israel to defend against incoming missile attacks. When whatever military hardware they have detects an incoming missile, the Iron Dome activates, and along with it, this alarm, letting the people inside the Iron Dome know that it is deploying, and there are missiles incoming.
Last time we spoke over an hour ago, Hodder, you'd just been watching that Iron Dome missile defense system at work. There have since been further rockets fired at that area of Israel.
Yes, and actually about 20 minutes ago we watched again the Iron Dome system in action. The air siren did not go on. It's going on now, so we're just going to duck a little bit. The air siren is now, usually there's about 10 to 15 seconds. We can hear the noise. I cannot see it, but what we can see is a trail of rockets in the sky. We're not really sure where it's heading. It's above our head, actually. We can see it. It's all I can tell you, and it's just been intercepted by the Iron Dome. You can probably hear the explosions. We should be fine. Whoa, there's another one there. You probably can see it. 3 that actually we don't know whether they're being intercepted or not at this stage. Yes, they are. You can just see, I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has been a bit the pattern over the past few days, a barrage of explosions, and then it goes quiet for an hour or so. We just still don't know. We're just going to stay a bit down still until we figure out whether it's all clear or not.
Let's get a taste for just one of the things those warning sirens could be warning against. This is a recording of Hurricane Ike hitting Galveston, Texas on September 13th, 2008. This comes from a Weather.com producer, Randy Flinders, as he was on the 11th floor of a hotel as Hurricane Ike struck. This next figure is, I'm sure, on Sage's list of figures to cover. Joseph James D'Angelo, also known as the original Night Stalker, also known as the East Area Rapist, responsible for up to, at least, 13 murders, 50 rapes, and 120 burglaries across California between 1973 and 1986. He had a habit of calling his victims to induce terror and to taunt them. Here's a very real recording of one of those calls. What I'm about to play for you next is a phone call from what's most widely known as the weepy-voiced killer, whose real name is Paul Michael Stefani. He is known to have killed 3 people, and has tried to kill 2 others. He is called the weepy-voiced killer because after these crimes he often calls police or other emergency services, and in a tear-filled voice, where it becomes evident that he may be crying on the other end of the line, he confesses his crimes with remorse. Here is a recording of just those phone calls.
Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton. I couldn't help it. Don't know why I had to stab her. I am so upset about it. I keep getting drunk every night. I can't believe it. It's like a big dream. I can't think of being locked up. If I get locked up, I'll kill myself. I'd rather kill myself than get locked up. I'll try not to kill anybody else.
Fire emergency.
Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one. Oh, my chief. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick. I'm going to kill myself, I think.
Where are you?
I'm just going to... If somebody dies with a red shirt on, it's me. I killed both of you. I'm sorry. I'll never make it to heaven.
Calm down.
For life. You find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody. Yes, please. This is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Molenberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there.
Can you tell me what happened to her?
Just hurry. She's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the edge here. Hurry.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Who are you?
This is a recording of Lonnie David Franklin Jr., probably better known as the American serial killer, the Grim Sleeper. He was responsible for at least 10 murders and 1 attempted murder in Los Angeles. One of the recordings that eventually led to his capture was him calling in his own murder scene. And based on this phone call, he gave up a few too many details that only the killer would know about. He was eventually caught and convicted, but before that, he phoned into 911 soon after one of his crimes.
Central.
LA City Police 831.
Yes, I'd like to report a murder, a dead body or something.
Where at?
The address is 1346 East 56th Street, in the alley. You know, he threw her out. The only thing that's hanging out of this, like he threw a gas tank on top of her, and the only thing you can see out is her feet.
Okay, what's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
Oh, I don't stand anonymous. I know too many people. Okay then, bye-bye.
All right.
A strange little bit of lore that may be known by enthusiasts of the moon missions, but not by many others, is that the crew of Apollo 10 being the dress rehearsal for the moon landing where they would orbit the moon, had a conversation in their capsule where they discussed eerie, weird music that they heard while on the far side of the moon. Here is that discussion. Make of it what you will. There are a lot of signals and radio signals and electromagnetic signals flying throughout space. So there's lots of explanations, but this is interesting nonetheless. Here is the crew of Apollo 10 talking about the eerie music they heard on the far side of the moon. The buzzing you hear during this clip is not the music the astronauts are speaking of, simply a sound that their equipment is making. The music they speak of is coming through their earphones, being transmitted from some source. It could be natural, or it could be artificial.
That music even sounds outer spacey, doesn't it? You hear that? That whistling sound? Yeah. Woo! Look at your... Yeah, it sounds like, outer space type music. Hey, Tom, is your insulation all burned off here on the front side of your window over here? Right? Yeah. These pictures that Orbiter took are fantastic. There we go. Is it really? Yeah, I got it written down. AOS for us is 102.25. Okay, 40 minutes, babe. I gotta connect SN batteries. Okay, stand by. That's 1 and 3 high voltage off reset. That's 1. 2. Boy, that sure is weird music. No. It's a whistling, like an outer space type thing.
The next group of sounds I'm going to play you are a collection of recordings put together by NASA for one Halloween. They called it Spooky Sounds from Across the Solar System, and I'm going to share some of them with you. First up, here is likely the first ever recorded Marsquake. That's right, Marsquake, an earthquake on Mars, recorded by NASA's InSight spacecraft, recording seismic activity from orbit. This next one is the actual sound of dust from space hitting something we sent there from Earth. This is the Stardust spacecraft, sent to study the comet Tempel 1. The sounds you're about to hear are very literally little rocky hail pellets expelled from the body of the comet, hitting the spacecraft as it passes through. The next thing I'm about to play you is a recording from one of the Voyager spacecraft as it passed very close by Jupiter. There's a lot of sound that you're going to hear in the next clip, but the jarring sound that seems to impact your ear, those are the many hundreds of lightning bolts going off every second in the atmosphere of Jupiter, like a chorus of thunder. This next sound was also recorded at Jupiter, but by a different spacecraft. The Juno spacecraft was approaching Jupiter in summer 2016 when it hit something called the bow shock. Jupiter, just like Earth, and just like many other planets, have a way of generating this magnetosphere. This sphere of magnetic energy surrounding the planet generated by some mass inside the planet spinning and interacting. It produces this sort of shield against the solar winds. Since the solar winds are magnetically active as well, when they hit this magnetic shield, instead of plunging right back into the planet, they instead follow the paths of these magnetic almost force field surrounding the planet. But it has this effect of the solar winds and of material thrown off of the sun collecting on the surface of these. And of course, when you send a spacecraft with sensitive instruments through a magnetic barrier that's buffered by thrown-off material from the sun, it's going to produce quite a sound. So here is NASA's Juno spacecraft hitting the bow shock of Jupiter in 2016. Next, I'm going to play you what NASA has titled Cassini Shields Up. So this is a recording of the Cassini spacecraft coming upon Saturn and putting whatever little shields it has up. From what I read, it's magnetic aluminum foil. And they go through what is considered to be a light or easy area of Saturn's rings. And here is the recording of all those little particles contained in the rings buffeting the Cassini spacecraft. Also, you'll hear the voice of a NASA engineer giving commentary on the clip itself.
And here's the outgoing ring plane crossing.
Would you like to hear what Saturn's moon Titan sounds like? Here is an audio representation of exactly that. This is a recording of the Huygens spacecraft as it sends radio signals to Titan's surface and listens for the echoes coming back. This is literally an audio representation of the peaks, valleys, and surface of Titan. This sound is user-submitted and titled simply Arthur's Butt. Judge for yourself. Recording what's going on in the cockpit of an airplane, or in the control center of any other aircraft, is important. The tower often needs to know what the airplane is doing, and the airplane often needs to know what the tower is doing. And it needs to communicate with other aircraft in the air. Because of all these signals passing and being passed on, it's an unfortunate reality of flight that often the last words of pilots are captured through all this recording equipment and broadcasting equipment being used. October 22nd, 1986. Jane Dornacker was flying an F-28F Falcon helicopter when at the height of 75 feet she crashed into a fence and fell into the Hudson's River. Here's the last recording of that flight.
Okay, here's Jane Dornacker now in the helicopter.
Thank you
you very much, Joey. There was indeed an accident southbound on the Major Deegan at the Mosholu Parkway, an accident, a serious accident involving a tractor-trailer and a car. It has been pushed off to the shoulder, but now watch out there now, because another flatbed truck is going to have to come to clear it, so yield right of way. Northbound on the BQE, we spotted that disabled vehicle in the right-hand lane before the Kiosko, not causing much of a backup, but further northbound there on the BQE, traffic is very heavy past the Kiosko all the way over to the LIE. The outbound Holland Tunnel, extra heavy for you right now. Earlier there was a car fire at Hudson and Canal Street. It has been cleared about heading to New Jersey. The outbound Lincoln Tunnel looks a lot better for you in New Jersey. Get the water! Get the water! Get the water!
Okay, we're going to play some music here, I think. Find out what's going on with the helicopter. There's something happened there. It's 5:15, 16 till 5 on WNBC on the Joey Reynolds Show. We're taking an helicopter report from Jane Dornacker. Let's check in and see how they're doing there. And then we'll come right back at you. Nothing happened with Jane. We had a helicopter report from the N-copter. Of course, once before we had this happen. A few months ago, she went down in the drink. Yeah. Not she. I mean, she has a pilot. Jane is... well, until we find out what's going on, we'll just... Jane was up there just now giving us a report. And sometimes it gets cut off, too. It's just an electronic thing. But this time she said, hit the water, something like that. So we're going to find out what's going on there. So stay tuned. We hope nothing... Say a little prayer. Hope nothing's wrong. That's really that's a hard job.
Jane did not survive this crash. April 28th, 1988. Aboard Aloha Airlines, a Boeing 737 suffered a separation of the fuselage where the top part of the aircraft peeled off. Explosive decompression took place. A flight attendant was sucked out of the opening of the fuselage and her body was never recovered. Here is the recording of that incident.
Maui Tower, Aloha 243, we're in dock for landing. Descending out of 13, and we have rapid speed, pressurized, clearing an emergency.
Hello, 243, clear your position.
Thank you, Maui, for landing. Request the equipment.
243, the equipment is on the roll. Land straight in runway 2, and I'll keep you advised on any wind change.
We're going to need assistance. We cannot communicate with the flight attendant. We'll need assistance for the passengers and the land.
Okay, understand you're going to need an ambulance, is that correct?
Affirmative.
Hello, 243, can you give me your souls on board and your fuel on board?
We, 86 plus 5 crew members.
Roger, how many do you think are injured?
We have no idea. We can't communicate with our flight attendant.
Okay, we'll have ambulance on the way.
August 31st, 1988 in Dallas, Texas. Delta Airlines Flight 1141, a Boeing 727, stalled and crashed during takeoff, hitting an antenna just 1,000 feet beyond the runway. It was completely crew error, where the flaps and the slats were not set correctly, so the aircraft could not achieve enough lift. 14 out of the 108 people aboard were killed.
Discuss about the dating habits of our flight attendants so we can get it on the recorder, in case we crashed, and the media would have some kind of a Gysin.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is that what they're looking for?
Yeah, that Continental that crashed in Denver. Did you read that? Yeah, they were talking about the dating habits of one of the flight attendants. We got to leave something for our wife and children to listen to. Now we're set. And estimates look good. Airspeed coming up both sides. 80 knots. Just saying. We got an engine break. Thank you. 941.
And the last clip of this set I'll play you is, of course, the famous U.S. Airways Flight 1549. An Airbus 320 carrying 107 people had just taken off from the LaGuardia airport when it suffered bird strikes to both engines. Thrust was immediately lost as both engines completely failed. The pilot, luckily enough, Captain Chelsea Sullenberger, landed the aircraft in the Hudson River and saved the life of everyone on board. Here is a recording of that incident.
Cactus 15.9, turn left heading 270.
This is Cactus 1539. Hit birds who lost thrust on both engines returning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220.
220.
Tower, stop your departures. Got emergency returning. It's 1529. He bird strike. He lost all engine. He lost the thrust in the engines. He's returning immediately.
Cactus 1529. Which engines?
He lost thrust in both engines. He said.
Got it.
Cactus 1529. We can get it for you. Do you want to try to land 1013?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
Showing 2760. Turn left 070.
070. Showing 2760.
Hi, Cactus 15.9. It's going to be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land? Cactus 15.9. Runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4.
I'm not sure we can make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey? Maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, Empire, actually, LaGuardia departure guy, emergency inbound.
Hey, guys.
Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge, wants to go to the airport right now.
Wants to go to our airport. Check. Does he need assistance?
Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1?
Runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus? All right. Showing 2760, contact New York 126.8.
26.8, showing 27.6.
Cactus 15.9, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles. Eagle 5, 4718, turn left heading 210.
210, 4718. I don't know, I think he said he was going to the Hudson.
Cactus 1529, you saw him? Cactus 1529, if you can, you got runway 29 available at Newark up at 2 o'clock in 7 miles. Eagle 5, 4718, climb maintain 12000.
Yeah, 1,000 and even 5 at 280.
Eagle 5, 4718, I'm sorry, I missed that. Say again?
And we're up to 12,000, 280 ahead.
Okay, thank you. Eagle 5, 4718, turn left 220.
220, 4718.
Was that Cactus so far this happened, is he?
Yeah, it was the Cactus. He was just north of the George Washington Bridge when they had the bird strike.
The next set of things I'm going to play you is a miscellaneous collage of different sounds to end off the episode. First up is a case I'm going to cover in full in the future. The case of Brandon Lawson going missing on August 9th, 2013. One of the last times he was ever heard is when he called 911, telling the dispatch that he needed help. I'm going to play you two different versions of the 911 call. The first at regular speed. The second with slowed down audio and enhanced audio. Many hours of speculation have been done in the true crime community trying to decipher exactly what's being said in this 911 call. Because maybe if we can figure that out, we can get some clues to see where Brandon Lawson went that night. Anyways, here is the recording.
9/2013 0:50 and 38 seconds.
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The Staple just pushed some guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. Got chasing to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me. One more.
I'm not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
That's the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah. No, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
9/2013 0:50 and 38 seconds.
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. Escape. We're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You guys chasing through the woods. Police words.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
That's the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
No, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello?
A warning about this next clip. You're about to hear audio of a man dying on the phone. His name is Kevin Michael Cosgrove. He was an American insurance business executive that was working in the South Tower of the World Trade Center on the day of the September 11th attacks in 2001. Here's the audio of him on call with 911 as the towers fall. Once again, you're about to listen to audio of a man dying.
How the hell are you going to get my ass down? I need oxygen. They have a lot of apparatus on this. You guys are free acting, lady. You get them in from all over. They get them from Jersey. I don't give a shit Ohio. Okay, so what's your last name? Mine's Cosgrove. I must have called about a dozen times already. Cosgrove. Yeah, my wife thinks I'm all right. I called her and said I was leaving the building. I was fine, and bang. Well, I want to hold on. Kelly. Doug Kelly, you said, right? Yeah. Doug Kelly's next to me. 105. Who's office? John Astro's office. That's what you said. That's the office. We're in John Astro's office. OST. A-R-U. A-R-U. Right, that's the office we're at. There's three of us in here. O-S-T-A-R-U. Hello? Hello? We're looking at financial center. Three of us, two broken windows.
What I'm about to play you is a recording of a nuclear detonation from the Upshot Knothole anti-nuclear weapons test in March 1953. This audio was being recorded about 7 miles away from the detonation. In the video in question, which you're unable to see because this is an audio medium, the image of the explosion appears on the film a full 32 seconds before the sound reaches the microphone. Here is a clip of that. Next, I'm going to play you a rare voice recording of the one and only Aleister Crowley. The great beast speaks the meaning of the pentagram in this recording.
The pentagram, dedicated to Henry Foreman. In the years of the primal course, in the dawn of terrestrial birth, man mastered the mammoth and horse, and man was the lord of the earth. He made him an hollow skin from the heart of an holy tree. He compassed the earth therein, and man was the lord of the sea. He controlled the vigor of steam. He harnessed the lightning for hire. He drove the celestial team, and man was the lord of the fire. Deep-mouthed from their thrones, deep-seated, the choirs of the eons declare the last of the demons defeated. For man is the lord of the air. Arise, O man, in thy strength, the kingdom is thine to inherit, till the high gods witness at length that man is the lord of his spirit.
In 2011, a magnitude 9 earthquake struck Japan. As the Earth's tectonic plates shifted and moved dozens of meters into new positions, vibrations proliferated throughout the Earth's crust. Scientists put together readings from seismometers and translated them into sound waves so that we could hear what the sound of the 2011 earthquake sounded like when translated in this way. Here's the sound of a German pulse jet engine. It's been described as unnerving. Alrighty, that's all for this episode of Mysterious Recordings. If you have a sound that you think you would like to hear on this next little gap episode, where I cover more mysterious recordings, to send it in to feedback@ovpod.ca. Until then, playing us out by Brion Gysin, here is the Pistol Poem. Apparently, story has it that the producer that was involved in recording this song walked out in the middle of production, saying that this song, quote-unquote, felt evil. Do you think the Pistol Poem sounds evil? See you in the after show.
4
3, 5. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4.
Let's hear a little bit from Leon Filger himself.
Hello, occultists. It's Leon Filger. I'm stoned as fuck and I'm feeling honest. I need to talk to you about joining the Patreon. Joining the Patreon gives you some really special benefits. For example, you get every episode a week early. There's exclusive weekly content. You have access to our exclusive Discord chat rooms, and there's also prize giveaways. Best way to support independent media is give us as little as $1 a month, and you can join the Patreon. It really helps us out, and like I said, there are great benefits for you.
Yep, that's Leon's quick little message, and I'm inclined to agree with him. If you found our little free podcast entertaining, if it's given you a chuckle, if it's provided you some entertainment in your workout, walk, or commute, consider putting some money forward and supporting the people who entertain you every week. And like Leon said, there are things you get back. For example, this weekend arriving is, for regular listeners, part 1 of a 2-part episode. But for Patreon subscriber, this weekend they get both halves. You can too. But until next time, I've been Oud Gallifrey. Winter's coming. Prepare your sweaters and warm clothing because the cold temperatures are not going to go away anytime soon. They are ever approaching. Have a wonderful night.